So yesterday at about 4:30, Anthony rang me, completely inconsolable, saying that he had screwed up the van's engine and that he's probably fucked the whole thing. And I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to, oh gosh, my hair is crazy. I didn't know what to do. And he basically was trying to change the cam belt and it all went horribly, horribly wrong. It looked as though it was going to be goodbye to van life for us forever.
No, baby.
That's how it felt.
Filming much of this, but I thought I'd just do a little thing. So I'm changing the cam belt and the water. I don't even know what it's called. A shout out to Ivor Van, I think that's how you say it. I've watched your videos like 20 times. Don't worry, if something goes wrong, I won't. I'll be like, I watched him, it's his fault. Yeah, doing the cam belt now because it's like £600 to get someone else to do it, or I bought the kit for 150, which is the cam belt and the water pump replacement. So this is how far I am. I've got the front end off, I've got the serpentine belt off. I've just removed this, which is the fan for the radiator. Yeah, I'll just do a few updates as I go through because I haven't got a tripod, and also I'm concentrating so much that I can't possibly record what I'm doing. So a little update, it's day 2. I had to leave it overnight because, well, I'll tell you. There's one difference between my van and the van I watched on YouTube, and loads of people are going to be like, don't do a cam belt change from watching a YouTube video. I know, thank you. One vital difference, this engine and the engine that I watched on YouTube, was this, which I believe is called the crankshaft. Not 100% sure. The engine could still be fucked. I could have still fucked the engine, who knows? I don't think I have. These two have not rotated separately from each other. They have only ever, when one has rotated, the other has rotated with the belt on. And I've had the timing pins in, and the timing pins were still in when I put the belt on and tensioned it up. So, here comes the main difference between this engine and the engine I watched. This here has no bolt or way of staying connected to the crankshaft, to the engine, other than the bolt going through this. Sorry, the other way. The bolt goes through that and holds that to the engine. You know, that makes sense. Until you realise you can't take the cover on and off while this is still connected. So, the second you add tension, this bolt will just pull off. It has one tiny little pin holding it in the correct formation that it's supposed to be in. Second you add tension, it pulls that back off. So even if I could quickly stick this on, I have to stick the entire engine cover back on before I can stick that on. So this is hanging off while you're trying to put this on, and then you're hoping that you can connect this to there all before it comes off of that singular pin, and then you have to start again. You have to take the tension off the belt, put the pins back in, put that cog back on, retension it, take the pins out, and then try again. But it doesn't work, trust me. I've tried so many times. Every time I add tension to this, and it has nothing, every time I add tension to this, to the belt, this just pops off. So I've had to just add a bit of wood to hold it in place. I've taken the pins out, I've added the little plug back in there, put the cover on, and now we're in a delicate situation where I have to remember, the second I remove this wood, that cog is going to want to come off because of the tension on the belt. So I need to remove the wood, get this in place and connect it all before that cog comes off that singular pin. So I'll update you in a minute. Okay, update. Oh, right, I got the serpentine belt on. Just got in the front because I asked Mr. Singh. So there's his. I want you to be able to see the garage. There you go, Mr. Singh's garage. He's the nicest bloke. You know, he's brilliant. He's helped me out so much. But he's helped me all the way through this with basically questions I've had. You know, he hasn't done the work for me because it's an expensive job. You know, and I'm not going to ask him to come and do the work for free. But I've been picking his brain, so I've asked him questions. But I've got the serpentine belt on, got the front end, not the front end, got the front cover on, got the serpentine belt, everything's bolted up. And I went over to him and I said, at this point, can I start the van to make sure it turns over? And he said, just turn the crankshaft by hand, just a few times, just to make sure, you know, there's nothing stopping it. I guess because you don't want the starter motor to turn the serpentine belt, which turns the cam belt, and then if there's something stopping it from turning, it could damage something irreparably, you know, and I don't want to do that. So I turned it by hand a couple times. It felt the way it felt before. Got in the cab. Oh my God. When I first put the key in, my glove, the tip of my glove got caught in with the key, and I was like, oh shit, why is the key not going in all the way? And then I looked and I was like, my glove's stopping it from going in. I feel like that's the universe telling me to stop taking things so seriously. So yeah, put the key in, turned it over, started first time. Obviously I couldn't run it for too long, so I haven't got the radiator on there. I don't want it to overheat the engine. But I ran it for, you know, 30 seconds and no knocking, no irregular noises. It sounded just how it sounded before. I am so fucking happy, and I need to, like, she's gonna edit this, but I need to thank my wife, Laura, because last night I phoned her and I wasn't in tears because I was so fucking cold and exhausted that tears couldn't come out of my face. But last night I was at a point where I tried to turn the engine over and I thought it wasn't turning over manually, turning the crankshaft. I thought, this isn't working. I fucked the engine, this is where I was at, you know, and my mind was like, oh my God, I've spent all this time on this van, I'm gonna have to scrap it or get a new engine, we can't afford a new engine. My mind was running a million miles an hour, and I phoned my wife at that point and I was just like, almost like sobbing. I was just like so upset because I thought, you're a fucking idiot. People don't do jobs like this because it's fucking hard. But I'll tell you now, I'm not a mechanic and I've done it. I wouldn't recommend other people to do it without any experience, because it's not even the work itself, the fucking fear in my heart. Right, I'm rambling now. The engine starts. The journey has not ended here. We will move forward. I'm going to get the radiator back on, get the front end on, and then we'll continue.
So today he's rang me, it's the next day, and he's fixed it, he's sorted it all out. Oh my God. So he's fixed it, and he's bringing it home, and I can't believe he's done it. He's incredible. I can't believe he's changed the the cam belt, and yeah, we're so happy that we're actually going to get the van back in one piece. Yay! Look, it's Daddy. Look. It's Daddy! It's Daddy! Look, he did it!
So I got to the van today. I did do a bit of recording when I got there. But the first thing I had to do was take the cam belt back off, because this just shows that I'm not a mechanic. I put the belt on back to front. It has arrows in the direction that the belt goes. and I had them facing the other way, which was the least of my problems. But I had to take the crankshaft outside spinny, technical term. I had to take that off again. I didn't have the cover on because I hadn't got to that point. Took the belt off, made sure I put the timing pins in, and in my head I was like, timing pins are in, it must still be timed. I was willing myself to be like, it must be timed because I have the timing pins in. So then I turned the belt the right way, slid it on, and then you'll see in this video that I took, I had to jam a piece of wood between the crankshaft and the frame of Helsing, so that when I added tension to the cam belt, it didn't just pull the cog off. Because that was the problem, it's a design flaw, it would just pull the cog off. So I had to jam a piece of wood in there so that I could get the casing back on the engine, and then I had to do some dodgy shit. I had to like pull the wood and quickly put the outside of the crankshaft there and hold it with loads of pressure while I drilled it in place, while I screwed it so it was bolted to the engine. And then once I was at that point, I just put the engine back together and then started it first time, and it ran fine. You know, my head was like, okay, it could still be running, but there could be issues. You know, if the timing is off, it means that there's all sorts of things that could still be wrong. You stopped recording?
No.
Yeah, I put it back together, you know, knowing that it ran, didn't know if it ran okay, and then finally, I did an oil change, because I thought, well, I've got the front of the vehicle off, I might as well do an oil change the filter, put the radiator fluid back in, which I put 5 litres and then had to go all the way back to Euro car parts, and then drove home. Very scared, listening to everything, watching the temperature gauge, because I was like, if the temperature goes up, it means there's air in the system, which, yeah, but it's okay, it's on the driveway, and I don't know how I did it, and I wouldn't do it again. I would find the money and I would get someone else to do it, on that vehicle anyway.
And we've now got 11 days until the photos are being done to sell the house. So we're on a really tight schedule now, and we've got still a million things left to do.